Welcome to Pilates Reformer Inspired Fit Flow. So the groundwork of today is going to be 4 rounds of 6 exercises. Each of them are 30 seconds. We just go right into them. So that's a lot. That's 3 minutes of just straight work per round, which is tiring for the legs, but that's the idea. We're going to get endurance of those leg muscles, but take your rest when you need it. Some of the stuff is supposed to be kind of gliding or flowing from one to another. So if I have my socks on, so that works well on my hardwood. If you are on carpet, maybe grabbing a glider if you have them, or paper plate works really well. And also if you have like a plastic plate, that usually works, or Tupperware container works well too. So if you don't have a glider or don't want to go grab anything, don't worry about it. You can just step back, pick your foot up to move it around, which is just fine. It's just kind of fun to feel something different with the gliding. Okay, so first to warm up, we're gonna just do our squat with a shoulder raise. So reaching down like you're picking something up, big swing forward, but control in the top. So draw the core in, reach those arms back. If we didn't have control over the core in this, we would just arch way up the top. So control as you engage that upper back. Just warming up the full body. And between each flow or sequence, so we have 4 rounds, remember, is going to be a minute of plank. I'm going to switch up what we're doing in the plank each time. And let's switch it to a sumo squat. Toes turned out. Sumo squat, slide down, reach up. Shoulders warming up from the sides, hips warming up in that external rotation. Where we get kind of in trouble with the sumo squat is if we let the knees cave in, or if we kind of let the back arch too much. So feel that nice, strong, stable spine, and knees are tracking right over the feet. Our last one we're gonna do is our lunges. So I'm gonna turn back to the side for you. We're just gonna find a stable lunge. Right foot forward first, left foot back. So when we drop straight down, this is our 90-90 lunge, because I want you to find 90 degrees in your front knee, 90 degrees of your back. Dropping down and up. So throughout our flows, I'm gonna call a lunge and a single leg squat interchangeably, kind of, because this is kind of a single leg squat where we have most of the weight in that front leg. Some of us might look like we're in a lunge, totally fine. Just the idea of having both knees bent, okay? Okay, let's switch sides. Again, dropping straight down, 90-90. Torso's upright. Again, you might feel like you can shorten the stance a little bit. Like a single leg squat, not too much pressure in that back leg, more in the front. Lunge is more equaled out. Hopefully you're feeling warm, ready to get moving in our sequence. So come on up. First is a few transitions. Then we put it together into a full flow. So your first one, we're going to start with that right foot forward, and you're sliding back into your lunge. That 90-90 lunge, or maybe your single leg squat. So let's start with lunge together. Tiptoe, left foot's the glider, the one that slides back. So right here, you just slide back to your lunge, slide up. For transition purposes, you might shorten that a little bit, make it feel more like a squat. Really light in this leg, almost as if you could pick it up. We're gonna go into a hinging lunge. For me, that's kind of like a stiff leg deadlift. So front leg's a little straighter, hips stay a little higher, and then we stand. More hip and hamstring driven. Hinge and stand. Hinge and stand. Notice the hips travel back as my chest travels forward. We're getting a little tricky with this next one. I want you to find the bottom of your hinge. So here's our hinge. You're gonna tuck the back knee in as you sit up. Kick it back in a hinge. Single leg squat to our hinge. Single leg squat to our hinge. What burns is that front glute, that right glute. Forward and back. Make sure the torso moves with you. Up and down. Up and down. After 3 moves, we get a little shake out. 3, 2, 1. So that was 3 moves. We're halfway through that round. Okay, so here's where we put all those together. So we're gonna start with our squat. So we go squat, hinge, stand. Squat, hinge, stand. Or lunge, it can be your lunge. So I'll show you with lunge first. So lunge, hinge, and stand. Lunge, hinge, stand. Squat, hinge, stand. Good, if you haven't started, go for it. The main focus is work of that right leg. So again, lunge, hinge, stand. Both knees bend, both legs straighten, and stand. Always a tiny little micro bend in especially that working front leg. Straighten, stand, bend, straighten, stand. Good. And our reverse. I want you to stop in your hinge for a moment. Once you get there, stop in your hinge. Now we reverse it. Tuck it first and sit up, and then stand. Hinge back, tuck, stand. Hinge, tuck, stand. Hinge, tuck, stand. Hinge, tuck, stand. Good. Almost there. We gotta hold in everything for our 6th move. Hinge, tuck, stand. We're gonna stop at that hinge again. Stop at the hinge. What is an extra challenge for these 10 seconds is if you wanna pick up that back leg. Maybe not, that's okay. It's burning that right hamstring and hip. 3, 2, 1, hold your squat or lunge. If you feel a lot of pressure in that back knee, scoot it back, engage that glute. If you can, keep more weight in that front leg. Our stand is our balance. 3, 2, 1. Bring that knee up, left knee up, balance, finishing off that right glute. Stay strong. 3, 2, and 1. Good, shake it out. 2, stretch that hip, that right hip that's hopefully fatigued. Let's take it just across. Maybe use the wall or chair next to you. Feeling the difference between a rounded spine and pushing the tailbone back between that stretch. And we have our minute of plank. Lucky us. Okay, so come on down. You have your mat. You can set it on your hands or your knees or whatever you need. First minute of plank, we're gonna focus on stable upper body and bending and straightening the knees a little bit. Kind of like mountain climbers, but a very slow, controlled version of it. So come on up to the hands and the toes if you got it. If that puts your low back into some pressure, I'd rather you be knees down, okay? So first just start by getting that nice, stable plank. And then if you're ready for some movement and you're on your knees and you're ready for a little extra, you just straighten one leg, put it back down. Straighten one leg, put it back down. Straighten one leg. So these are knee lifts, okay? So if you're up in full body, drop one and then the other. Drop one and then the other. Just a little slight twist in your hips. Don't forget about pressing away from the ground, tucking that chin. Don't bird peck down, lift up. Good, keep moving, whatever variation you're at. We're almost there. 15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome job. Press back, whether it's a half forward fold or child's pose, but we are coming right up to that second side. So when you are ready, come on up. Now you know what's coming. 3 moves, a little shakeout, the next 3 moves, and then we're done. We're halfway done. So let's take it back up nice and slow. Don't get dizzy from the ground. And we are going into that lunge or squat. So now we have our left leg, that's your stable piece. And we are going in 5. Take that right foot back, it slides back to our lunge. And up. Remember, lunges and our single leg squats, torso's upright just a little more. If you notice, my foot's not even sliding, if you're not using your sliders and you just step, again, that's just fine. There's something different about never picking up that foot. Remember, next is our hinged lunge. Right here. So a little less bend in that knee, more bend or hinge of the hip. Think single leg deadlift. We combo the 2 moves. So we stay down in our hinge in 3, 2, and stay down in that hinge. When we tuck, we come upright and then we extend. Both knees bend, both legs straighten. Keep a little bend in that like working leg, just so we're not locked out in the joints. Tuck and sit up, hinge forward and straighten. The memory of that glute burn's coming back. You have 3, get to shake out in 2 and 1, shake it out. 15-second little break, and then we get to go right into those combos. So we go down first, so squat, hinge, stand. Remember that squat and lunge are kind of interchangeable for this move. It just depends on where your leg is. So bend, straighten, and stand. Bend, straighten, stand. Bend. Bend. Stand. If you're doing a full lunge, you might not even move your back foot much until you come back up. So it slides all the way back, straighten the legs, and stand. When you straighten the legs, you tip forward, remember. Okay, we're gonna hold that hinge, and we reverse it. So we tuck first. So tuck, stand. Hinge, tuck, stand. Hinge and tip forward, tuck, and stand. Hinge, tuck upright, stand. Hinge, tuck, stand. Hinge, tuck, stand. We got our little holding burnout coming up. We have our hinge first. So come down into your hinge, core engaged, glute burning, and maybe you lift off, maybe you don't. It's 10 seconds, you can do it. We hold that lunge or single leg squat. 3, 2, 1, hold it down. Draw that core in. If you feel pressure in that right knee, set it back a little bit, re-engage the glute, and come up to your balance, nice and strong. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set it down, shake it out, cross that ankle over the knee. Okay, let's get down for our second plank. So our second plank is going to be more about moving the upper body around a little bit. We're going to do something called scapular push-up. So I'm going to start our first 15 seconds in your hands and knees, kind of quadruped position. So first 15 seconds, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, feet straight back. And when you think about your shoulder blades coming together as your torso drops, arms are straight, and then pressing away, separating your shoulder blades as you lift forward. A lot of times that means we feel a shrug in that, so try not to. Just Bring the shoulder blades together and press them apart. Retract, protract. But a lot of times we want to arch and round too. Try to keep that pretty neutral. If this is feeling okay, maybe slide back the knees. Make it a little bit more weight we're moving around. If you want more, maybe full body plank. 20 seconds. Feeling deep work into the shoulders, shoulder blades. Press into those fingertips. Try not to bob the head, kind of like I am. I know I am. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Take it down, shake it out. We're to round 3 out of 4. So we'll get it done a little quicker. We're gonna go without those pauses in between. We're just gonna get it done because it switches up the muscle group. If you notice the first rounds were a lot of front and back motion. We're gonna think about internal and external rotation now. So you're first just gonna start in your sumo squat. So toes turned out and just normal sumo squat, no moving around, 30 seconds. What I want you to notice is your hips are really open. Your knees are pressing out to the sides. Glutes are engaged. Depending on your flexibility, your toes might be pointed forward just a little bit more, especially if you feel pressure. What we're gonna do is slide in and out with that left foot. That's where the glider comes in. So this next one, exercise number 2, slide in and slide out. Slide in kind of like plie and slide out. Think inner thighs, but glutes never disengage because we always have that little external rotation. Third one is switching from our low sumo to a lunge. Interesting one. So stay in your sumo. You're gonna pick up that back foot and just flip it right into a lunge. So you kind of stay at the angle of what this right foot is doing. So this one has to match. Close the hips, open the hips. Close the hips, open the hips. You never fully stand up. Try to pulse it down. Closed, open, closed. We stay in that lunge. 3 and 2 and 1. Stay in that lunge. Maybe square yourself. And then we have our curtsy lunge. So you stay on curtsy lunge, just kind of like angled back on a tightrope and then back up. So it's a slight little internal crossing over that midline and back up. Changes what that hip is doing. Number 4, here we go, number 5, stay low. I want you to tuck like you're making an X with your shins and back. Tuck and back, tuck and back. I promise I'm burning just as much as you are. Keep going. We got one more move. You're gonna keep this same X. So X, but I want you to maybe find fingertips to the floor or to the wall. You're gonna do an X and extend. X, extend. Kind of think bar class. X and extend. Hips can open up a little bit for this one, feeling it in that right glute. If you have the flexibility, you might be on the ground or just on the wall or the couch, whatever you're next to. You have 5. Core pulled in. Don't arch the spine too much. 3, 2, 1, rest. Whew, shake it out. Feeling everything in that right hip. Hopefully, let's cross it. Another really good hip stretch, deep hip stretch is big forward fold. Bend your left knee. Kind of think, push your hip out, right hip out, attitude hip. Feeling kind of your stabilizers. It's your medium-sized glute, your glute med, and reach up. We get to go down for our third plank. Here we go. Okay, getting a little step more with those legs. So again, we're gonna keep that arm stable, legs moving around. If you want, you can go elbows or hands, it's up to you. Come into your knees or your toes. Plank, you're starting in 3, 2, and 1. And you're gonna tap out to the side. If you really wanna get going, you can do your little jack. That's great. If you know what that is, go for it. If you just really wanna focus on that slow, controlled, feeling the side core, the twisting. Notice, if you try really hard, you wanna keep basically torso up really still. But picking up one foot turns on that twisting core to counterbalance. Almost there. Just have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. We have our last legs, last plank, couple stretches, and then we're out of here. Be a perfect half hour. Okay, so we are gonna get going sumos, just plain sumos. And then remember the slides happening with that right foot sliding around. We'll go in 3, in 2, and 1 sumo. Good, you have 10 more seconds. Think inner thighs, deep core, drawing everything up and in. And then right here, start that slide. Right heel in and slide it back out. In and out. Remember, matching where those toes are pointed, that's where your knees are pointed. We don't want to overcompensate or undercompensate for those hips because it bothers the knees eventually. We got that funny flip of the right foot. So you go sumo to lunge. Right here, hold it down, sumo, hop it up, lunge. So I'm kind of angled because I want to stay at the same angle as that left foot. Open and close. Open and closed. If you have your glider, you can just flip on that glider or you're picking it up. We stay in that lunge pretty soon here. 3, 2, 1. Stay in your lunge, maybe square yourself, and you have your curtsy. So when we drop that knee almost in line with the foot. Thinking the leg is kind of crossing to the midline of the body. Really closed, yep. And we take it into that tuck, so stay low. Tuck, find that X with the shins and back out. Tuck, back out, tuck. Yeah, that last one, that little balance, maybe use the wall. 3, 2, 1. Find that X, keep it. And then you have your little curtsy X and lift. Curtsy X and lift. Curtsy, lift. Remember, using that glute, not the low back. Maybe placing that hand on the hip. Make sure we are not arching. Almost 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, shake it out. Same thing if we want to do that quick little stretch. Cross your ankle over your knee. Let that hip release. We'll do the same. Bent over. Right knee stretches this, or bends this time because we want to stretch the left hip. Reach up. Okay, it's our last plank. Okay, so our last plank is moving the upper body again. So again, you can choose knees or toes, hands or elbows, knees or toes, hands or elbows, up to you. And then we're gonna tap out forward. So tap one, and then the other. Go ahead if you haven't already. Tap one, then the other. Don't lose that press into the ground with that single arm. Think when both hands are down, you're sharing the work between two shoulder blades. When you release one hand, you're putting all the work into that one shoulder blade. So make sure you set yourself, press into the ground. What's more important is probably the hand that's on the ground than the one that's reaching out, okay? The closer the feet are together, the harder this is as well. You can engage your inner thighs, but it's harder for the core. Wider feet, wider base of support. 15 seconds. Keep breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Good, come on down. Let's just cross the legs. Sit in a nice, comfortable position. We'll stretch out that upper body, torso for a moment first. Take both hands high. Exhale, pull down. Pause here for a moment. As you inhale, pull those elbows back. Looking up, lift the chest. And exhale, round forward. Seated cat-cow. A little bit more active. Inhale. And exhale. Bring the hands down to the fronts of the knees. Same thing. Inhale, forward. Exhale, round back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, round back. Good. You rounding back separates those shoulder blades again, just like we were doing in those shoulder blade push-ups. But this time you're using gravity to just help stretch some muscles. Good. Let's find our spinal twist. Left hand to right knee. Inhale, tall. Exhale, twist. And switch. Right hand, left knee. Inhale. And exhale, twist. We did get to stretch the hips a couple times throughout class. I'm going to do a quick little hamstring quad stretch. So straighten the legs out in front of you. Reach high and round forward. You can round. Nice straight spine. Definitely zeroes in on the hamstrings and then strengthens the back body. Then to get our quad, I want you just to, let's lean off to the left side first. Take your right foot back. You might just have the top of the foot kind of leaning off to the side. You already feel that quad. Maybe you can sneak the top of the foot in a little bit more and press into the hip. Good, let's release that leg and lean off to the right. Sliding your left foot back. Again, you might get to here, and that's where you feel your quad. Stay right there, just lean off so you don't feel any pressure in the knee. If you can, scoot it in a little bit more, maybe lean back, squeeze the glutes. Go one more big forward fold, maybe a little wider with the feet, a little straddle, and reach forward. Good, slowly roll up, cross those legs again. Just come to an easy pose, maybe hands on your knees, up or down, maybe heart center, close the eyes. Find a few moments of stillness before you move back into the next step of your day. You're staying present, but I want you to venture out and find the positivity or the gratitude or someone that you appreciate in your life. If you make it a routine or a habit after each workout, each yoga practice, each even meditation, you take just one moment to search for a piece of gratitude just comes so naturally in your mind through any situation. It helps the hard times to be a little bit more resilient. Thank you all so much for coming.